Hey guys, this is Starcraft and I'm back to cast another 2v2 match for you. This game will be on Twilight Fortress and it will be a rematch of the same teams from last time. Cubert, the blue Terran, and his partner Aristeo, the yellow Zerg, will be going against IronTune, the green Protoss, and his partner Ozonni, the teal Protoss. So, this game, if you saw at when I was rewatching the last cast, at the very end of the last cast, they were saying something about the finale. I think that was Ozonni saying something about the finale, and so this set of games might actually be the finals of one of these tournaments. Not 100% sure on that, but these are some very, very high-level European 2v2 teams. So, as we see double scouting probes coming out for Ozonni and IronTune, will we be seeing some kind of proxy play? As last game, Ozonni, I was mistaken there when I said they had 3 gates. They did have 4 gates each, so both Protoss players went for a 4-gate attack, and it was too late by that time. Cubert and Aristeo had too many fortresses. Aristeo had his fast expansion up for so long that he was able to get a ton of Zerglings out and defend that attack, and during the counterattack, Ozonni and IronTune simply GG'd because they had nothing left to defend. So let's see what they do this game. I am 95% sure that this game came after the previous game, because this was labeled Game 2 on the downloads and the other was labeled Game 1 though. So most likely that is the case. As you see Cubert with 2 SCVs off here to try and defend his building production from these harassing probes. It looks like the probes are going to return home, possibly throwing up a couple of sneak proxy pylons on their way back, because that is what they did last game. And this time it looks like Ozonni and IronTune are both getting cybernetic cores. It looks like they are going, or they were going to wall off there and then realized that they wanted to leave a path to get out, so Ozonni did move his cybernetics core to allow that walkway there. So this map, Twilight Fortress, a very large map with plenty of expansions all over the place, and also with natural expansions that are extremely well protected, because all you have in the entrance of each of these pair of bases is with this one large center ramp. As you see the Protoss team creating that choke point in here. So interesting that Cubert and Aristeo have opted not, Cubert that is, has opted not to try and place some buildings down here to create a wall. Instead, he will be throwing a bunker down at the middle front of this ramp, and most likely they will be rallying their units to this position to defend. And that is something that Cubert did last time. Aristeo went for the fast expansion just like he did this time, and Cubert threw down the bunker to help defend his teammates' expansion. So it's interesting to see a little bit of a different style, because as I said last cast, we're very used to seeing the Zerg player go all in with those Zerglings and Banelings at the beginning, but against Protoss, against a pair of Protoss teammates, Banelings is not nearly as effective, because they are good against sentries and zealots, but zealots with so much life, 150 life per zealot. Banelings not as effective, obviously, as they are against balls of marines and Zerglings. As you can see, there are some observers in these games. The last couple of games have had 3 observers, so this is definitely a tournament game. And I just don't know which tournament and which level of the tournament it was. Maybe this is a semi-final, because last game they said something about finals. But I know that Aristeo and Cubert, Team Empire, that they are really good, and they have been winning a ton of these 2v2 European tournaments. And the other team, Ozonni and IronTune, I don't know much about. The only game I've seen was the last game that I cast. But they are, I believe, called Team Ubi. UBI is like their team name. And Team Empire, I guess, this is what they call themselves, Aristeo and Cubert, Team Empire, except I'm not sure if there's more members of the Empire clan than just these two, but these two guys are like their name is Empire.Cubert and the other one is Empire.Aristeo. So I know they're members of like this this Empire clan, and it looks like the same strategy as last time. IronTune and Ozonni will be pressing out with that 4-gate push, and at the same time, Aristeo, with bringing his Zerglings around the side, is going to be running right into the middle line of Ozonni. So what is he going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to have to make a decision right now. Do they fall back? Ozonni, it looks like, has decided they are going to try and press the front instead of fall back to defend these Zerglings. Instead, what he is going to do is warp in a few Zealots back here and a Stalker to chase these Zerglings around at home while they press the front. Or are they just getting proxy pylons up here? IronTune is getting his proxy pylon, and now Ozonni looks like will be throwing that one down here shortly. And are they going to try and counterattack? These Zerglings still are just loose in the main of Ozonni. He is keeping his probes alive very nicely while these Zealots just chase these Zerglings around here. And they need to try and make something happen, as these Zerglings are really hampering the mineral production of the Protoss team. And some pretty good force fields there. He needs one more. Needed some more force fields. There we go, splitting off some of this army right now. However, Cuberts, Marauders, and Marines are doing quite a bit of damage in the back of these force fields. The Zerglings just now coming around the side for Aristeo, and it looks like this army is going to be forced to fall back. Just too many Zerglings, too many Marines and Marauders. And the Protoss players in a lot of trouble right now, trying to shoot and scoot with these Stalkers as they fall back, warping in more reinforcements to try and defend at this pylon. It looks like Ozonni, he was going to try and defend at that pylon, but deciding better of it. There are too many Marines and Marauders, and the Zerglings continuing to give chase from Aristeo. Stalkers forced to stop here and try and shoot some of these Zerglings as they run away. Ozonni actually doing a nice job there of killing as many of these Zerglings as he can. And are Cubert and Aristeo? No. Aristeo giving the B call. That is short for fallback or back. So Aristeo and Cubert are going to fall back, realizing that the distance on this map between the bases is so far that in that time that it took them to chase the Protoss army all the way down here, the Protoss players were able to continue macroing up more and more units and reinforce that front. So that would have been very difficult for them to break. So probably a wise decision falling back there, going to save those units for the next assault. And everybody now who hasn't already is going for those expansions. As you see the two Protoss players throwing down their easily defended expansion nexuses here, their nexi. And Cubert, he already has his expansion up and running and very well saturated with mules and the orbital command there. The ping coming off from Cubert, it looks like they are going to start rallying their troops to the front, or is Aristeo going to just do some harassment here with these Zerglings? As we now see a third base coming down for Aristeo on this side. And that is one thing to note about these this particular map, is that there are so many expansions here along the side, excuse me, including high yields in these two corners, that it's very easy to get a sneak expansion on this map because it is difficult to scout. It's important to remember to scout all of these expansions constantly. What I'll do sometimes on this map is I'll take an observer or like a probe, even SCV or something, and I'll just queue up a path through all of these expansions to make sure that my opponents are not trying for any sneak expansions down here. As we see Aristeo going for that third base in this corner, and Cubert will be attempting to take the high yield. Likely we'll see a planetary fortress at that location in case it gets scouted and try to attack, but it is so far to run. If the Protoss team scouted this base or these two Zerg bases down here, it would take so long for them to move their units over to try and deal with that they would be way out of position for any kind of counterattack. So it is difficult. As we see, Aristeo now has 6 Mutalisks, and he is harassing the middle line of Ozoni's expansion. Ozonni does have plenty of Zealots and sentries to defend that. Those mutas for Aristeo are going to continue to be annoying and force the Protoss players to run their Stalkers back and forth to defend their expansions, while Aristeo secures these 2 extra expansions over to the side and boosts their economy and maintains that that map control as Aristeo is continuing to bolster his Mutalist numbers. While Cubert, meanwhile, has a sizable force of Marines and Marauders in the middle of the map. One siege tank here. Siege tank is finished. And Aristeo just finishing an upgrade for his flyer units. He has 5 more Mutalists on the way, so a ton of Mutalists on the field for Aristeo. And those are going to be extremely effective. Mutalists, a very, very strong unit versus Protoss. As you see, both Protoss players looks like they are teching up, both getting extended thermal lance and both getting Colossi. So, interesting, a lot of times I know Azide and Super Ninja is a pair of Protoss players that I watch play all the time. And usually one of them will go for Phoenix and or Voids, and the other will go for Colossi to mix the units up. But we will see how this pans out, because a ton of Mutalists will be very strong against Colossi. As these Mutalists you see trying to focus down this Colossi, and they will simply chase that Colossi down, make sure it dies before they run away. So very important to keep those the number of Colossi for the Protoss down, because as those start to increase in number, the Protoss ball gets extremely, extremely dangerous against all forces of all types of ground troops. So it looks like the Protoss team realizing now that their opponents do have the control of most of the map. As you see, Cubert now continuing to try and expand. He actually did opt for an orbital command at this high yield mineral position, deciding that they did have good enough map control to be able to defend that if they wanted to. The Protoss players a little bit unsure, it looks like, of what they want to do. Do they want to try and pressure? Right now it looks like they are going to try and start pressing some of these expansions, but at the same time, Aristeo, his Mutalists, he has a ton of Mutalists right now. 2 tabs of, even into the second tab of Mutalists, that's like 30 Mutalists right there. It looks like they are going to pull back to try and deal with this attack from IronTune and Ozonni, and IronTune and Ozonni have forced the liftoff of this command center. It is flaming, it probably will go down, but here come the reinforcements, and we are going to see a major engagement right here. Cubert sieging up 7 siege tanks in the back, stimming up his Marines and Marauders to run in here. There are a ton of Mutalists on the field for Aristeo, and he is not even bothering to wait for this bio army to support. He has so many Mutalists, and the Zerglings are coming in to trap these Stalkers, and there goes all the Colossi, all the Stalkers, all the sentries, everything falls for IronTune and Ozonni. And man, they are in serious trouble right now. There are so many Mutalists on the field. We are only 18 minutes into this game, StarCraft time, and Aristeo already has a max army with 1 million Mutalists. And Ozonni and IronTune will GG out. So well played by Aristeo and Cubert, and I do not, unfortunately, I do not know which tournament this game was from and which round it was from, because the labeling of the downloads was so poor. But either way, I'm very excited to get my hands on some more really high-level team matchups, and I will be continuing to cast some more of these European games. So let me know what you guys think. If you want to see more of these European games, I'll probably be casting some anyway, but if I do get some positive responses to them, I will probably cast more than maybe I wouldn't have. So thank you guys for watching. This is Irie StarCraft, and peace out.